Nova Esports immediately ban away a Preta and the Richter.
I can't explain that. Horus plays a sick Preta.
What? But how was it not banned last game then?
I don't know, but Horus plays a sick Richter, or Preta, sorry.
Varus banned away by INTZ. They don't want to deal with it here. And what does that mean now? Elsu's available, Sephira is available, so whichever one that they decide, Sephira being the decision maker and her flexibility, which means INTZ has a chance now to take the Elsu.
It makes a lot of sense for them to take the Elsu and net here, not only just to take a net, but to deny it off of Shaka as well.
I'd be alarmed. Maybe they don't play Elsu.
You don't think so?
I don't actually know who I'd favorite on. Maybe the idea was they stick Horus on it, but I don't know who they play with Elsu on that team.
Well, we're gonna have to find out as Elsu and Annette do get locked in, which means Nova Esports now has an opportunity to decide what they want their next pickup to be. Last game, they prioritized the mid. They can decide to do that yet again here to make sure that they get a comfort pick into their mid laner SA overall.
I'd like to see Liliana again. It worked wonders for them, and the rotations were definitely there. The stun helps them set up kills, and they can always kind of flex the Sephira around. For now, it isn't certain where Sephira is going to go.
Looking back at the stats for this Elsu, it hasn't ever been picked up by this current edition of the roster. When it was played previously, Medinho picked it up, and that was the match where INTZ had to, like, shuffle things around a ton, and it didn't look good.
Liliana, though, seems to be the hover, so keeping your prediction strong in vision, and a Joker looks to be the next pickup there for Nova. So revealing their cards a little bit early with the side lane Joker, which also means Sephira is now will almost instinctively go into that support position.
This is once again very one-dimensional way of drafting, because Nova Esports, they're once again missing a side laner, but this time around they're missing a jungler as well. So, I mean, the Joker is gonna go into the side lane for sure, because I haven't seen one Joker that goes into the jungle. Well, Joker
I've seen support Joker. Support Joker's been the thing.
So
it's a thing. It's a legitimate strategy. Don't scoff at me, but you're right.
Even though Sephira's gonna be picked, you know?
Yes,
but you're
right. This will be a side lane Joker to deal with the Elsu. We consistently see this. The range on the Joker's last lap, that long-range rocket, or killing joke, sorry. The long-range rocket does give him the ability to kind of duel versus an Elsu, because they come a little bit more frequently.
And so now INTZ, thinking and knowing that they don't have a jungler, decide to hover over the Maraud. They lock that in to ensure that there isn't a world where they don't get someone comfortable in that jungle position. Now they have the first ban as phase number 2 is set to begin.
Does Elsu have a 100% win rate today?
That's a good question.
I believe so, yes.
I think so, and a lot of those games have been into Sephira, so I'd like to touch on the Elsu-Sephira matchup a little bit, because the Murad plays into it as well. The big thing with Sephira is, of course, her Tides of Life. If you can force the Sephira to burn that Tides of Life, that invulnerability, playing defense against a snipe or a temporal turbulence, then you don't have that invulnerability, that healing up for the team fights. So the poke tools that INTZ have built from the Elsu, from the Murad, are very, very good.
But INTZ are missing a little bit of frontline themselves, because they're pretty squishy as of right now. They're banning out Lindis, so that's, I would say that's a good ban, considering the fact that Nova's going to be looking for the jungler.
I'm a bet that INTZ run this I'm going to bet that INTZ run this Elsu in mid. And I don't like it, and that's why I don't think they'll win.
No.
But when they previously ran it, they did run it in mid.
They did.
I'm going to say they're going to go for a mage. I'm going to go on a wild guess here and say they're going to go for Tulip.
Two marksmen taken away, Lindis and the Violet. Omen, of course, being banned away by Nova Esports. Now they have one more ban to round things out. It'll probably be a side laner. Ooh, the Zenial gets taken away.
That's good for the Elsu. The major thing about the Zenial is if the Elsu ever gets called out, you can go ahead and drop yourself a Angelic Splendor, save the Elsu.
Beautiful confirmation for you. Elsu has not lost a game today.
Thanks.
Well, it does open up the max pick potential for Nova again, for the global presence if they want to go for the fighting style.
Crest gets locked in. That's going to be a side lane Crest.
That is a little bit worrying, because this is either top lane Crest, which doesn't really work because the Crest is so far away from the rest of the team, or it's going to be a bottom lane Crest, which means it is mid Elsu.
Yes.
Alternatively, hear me out, a net mid Elsu side lane.
Let's go with
Crash
realistic.
support?
Let's go with realism and not theory crafting.
Ooh, Jinnar.
So,
Jinnar locked in, though.
as I said,
we're both
Elsu's not
wrong
gonna be-
again. Elsu in the side lane, it's going to be a Jinnar. Now they're looking for the engage.
INTZ's odds of victory just went up considerably. Although I will say, I don't particularly like the synergy between their team yet. Annette, Jinnar have a good little back and forth, but they need one more solid frontliner, and that's got to come from the top lane, given what roles they have left.
I like the Jinnar pick because they were missing the tanky frontline, and Jinnar not only is a mage, but he is also a tanky frontliner.
Look at what we have, though. Max. Nothing in the world so far can stop the Elsu, can stop the Max from getting onto the Elsu. They made it work in the last game. We know that 08 knows how to play that Max, so they lock it in. The dive has been established. Wonder Woman looking to follow that up as well, locked in.
So the problem is the two obvious counters to Max are gone, that being, of course, Omen and Zenial. I'd say either you run Superman or Roxy in this top lane, and I'd lean in favor of the Superman if they have anyone comfortable playing.
The thing is, though, Max is going to have a field day up against Elsu. Just absolute demolition, because Elsu will not be able to escape Max. They have to pick something to help Max out. I think Abaneth works wonders for them in that regard.
I actually am all right with the Elsu Max matchup. Because the Elsu can spend disengage, and that gets him out of range of the Max once the Max has spent the ultimate. So if the Elsu survives the initial dive, they have the burst mobility to get behind the tower and play safe, because that is a really long-range dash.
But the thing about Max is once you jump in, you're going to use that smooth moves, and that's instantly going to place you behind the enemy. And even if the dash is going to be coming through, it's still going to be hard.
Superman, though, is the lock-in. Just to your prediction and hopes and dreams. So, Superman will be now on Harness.
The reason I like the Superman is because he does all right into the Max, but more importantly, he has good enough wave clear and good enough mobility that other parts of the team can rotate around to defend what's needed, because the Superman can cover two lanes at once if required to.
Picks are locked in for both of these teams. Of course, Sephora now being in the support position. Sir Muster getting onto the Joker, and we've actually seen Sir Muster play the Joker in a few times. We've seen him play a lot of different positions, actually, for Nova Esports, but what I'm most interested in seeing is if Nova can repeat themselves.
So that's going to be interesting for Sir Muster then on the Joker, because this means that it's jungle Wonder Woman he's going to be trying to synergize with. And that's going to mean he's going to be chilling in that side lane against the Elsu with little support until the Wonder Woman arrives at the mid-game mark.
Well, Joker does have a kind of a counter to Elsu, because once a pick a card, any card gets activated, he doesn't deal. He doesn't take any attack damage
for a brief period of time. But you can.
It's enough for a snipe.
Yes, if you have perfect timing, you can make it happen.
Sir Muster has impeccable timing. Is certainly one that's capable of it. But let's talk about this in composition a little bit. Superman clearly is the option, but the Jinnar pick. How is this Jinnar going to fit into this, and how is it going to be able to take down Nova?
I can give you the ideal answer. In an ideal world...
We're looking at ideals. Execution comes when the game begins.
In an ideal world, the Jinnar operates out front, taking a team fight, and making sure that the core of the enemy team is occupied by him, and the Elsu is either able to stand just within range with the auto attacks or further back with the snipes and rain in damage. Practically, I think this Jinnar is going to spend a lot of the time trying to defensively ult with the exuberance to keep the Elsu alive as pressure comes through onto him.
Well, if there's something that we've seen, if you decide to play passive, or more importantly, reactive against the aggression that Nova Esports can create, bad things are going to happen. Game 1 was an example of that, so now INTZ is going to have to find a way to pull out some smooth moves, contrary to the Max on the opposite team, to ensure that they can get themselves a victory, because game number 2 is about to begin. Nova Esports had a dominating win in game number 1, now looking to close out the series in a clean 2-0 sweep.
As Nova head into the second game, we're going to see a little bit of poke coming through again in the middle of the map. The Water Spirits coming through. Horus is going to be taking a little bit of poke, and it's kind of reminiscent of the last game. Once again, Horus is straight off the bat going to be low HP.
Yeah, this is a rough position for Horus because of the amount of emphasis on that mid lane from the Liliana, from the Sephora. It's a lot of long-range poke tools to keep him alive.
Well, we're going to have to see how he's going to be able to stay alive indeed, as INTZ now, they're farming across all lanes, and the matchup to keep in mind is going to be that Fusion Sir Muster down at the bottom side of the map, the Elsu versus Joker. Both of them have incredible poke potential coming through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to shift the focus down towards the bottom lane, though, because Sir Muster is in this matchup versus Fusion, and this was what we put so much emphasis on. For much of the game, this is theoretically going to be a losing matchup for Sir Muster. Though the Joker is one of the best characters into the Elsu, he still doesn't have the range or the pure damage of the Elsu. But what the Joker does do a little bit better than the Elsu is his mobility. If he can get the call-ins from his support in the jungle from No Mercy, coming in and rotating down, they actually have exactly the right kit with the Candle After burst damage to shut down the Elsu in lane.
Well, if it is going to be onto anybody, it's going to be onto Sir Muster to take down that Fusion with those passive auto attacks coming through. As well as the ultimate, the Candle After can stop Elsu from doing anything, but Echo is going to be taken low, No Mercy. He's going to be caught out in the opposing jungle. Nova is in a bit of a pickle as Horus gets the first blow. Oh, the snipes there, but Horus stays alive throughout of it. That's a good start for INTZ.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed. Horus, the star player from last game, perhaps we shouldn't have doubted his Jin R play. If he could step up, that's a very good frontline element for INTZ.
And he's going to be looking for the Orb, but the Magi as well, looking at the items currently. Could still switch around, but it is looking to be the build up for that.
Yep, I expect this to be a pretty standard build for Horus, because he wants to just push forward in the mid lane and gain enough damage that as we get towards late, his committals onto enemy teams, onto enemy groups, force full retreats. No Mercy in particular, his stun doesn't stop an Exuberance. So if you're channeling the Exuberance and the Bracelets of Submission stun lands onto you or your closely packed allies, the Exuberance still protects them from the full engage that Nova have to offer.
Well, now the question becomes if Nova can do that engage anywhere else, and they are going to be looking for that Max to jump onto the backline. Now that he is level 4, that means Max will have the global presence, but you have to keep in mind that Superman is up against him.
Yep, the kind of pickup I said that would be there to counter the Max was Fusion's ult, which is of course disengage on the Elsu. That's a big dash that lets him go very far backwards and fires a projectile at the same time. If used correctly and if timed well, he can get out from any threat from something like a Max and behind tower or to an ally to safety. And the Max doesn't have a ton of mobility to chase him down.
Well, Max does have smooth moves coming through. Echo's going to be caught out there. Oh, the lasso as well to bring him back.
But Horus
gets the kill. Now Horus is going to be running in, trying to take these kills. He's up against 4. Make that 5 people as Max has joined the fight as well. Superman's not going to be there for now as Nova Esports start up strong after the first blood.
Excellently done. Horus goes in with the Exuberance, but he doesn't have any backup damage, and the Exuberance itself doesn't do a whole lot of damage. You rely on other allies to be playing the front line at the time, and he had nobody with him.
Well, Pataria was not in the fight crucially there. Max had a chance to jump in with that global ultimate. Pataria, though, he had to run from the top, wasn't there, which meant all the difference in the world in that fight.
And I'd like to see Pataria taking advantage of his positioning in the top lane if that Max ult comes through, to cut wave, to find pressure, to gain ground other than just trying to rotate down, because your odds of getting to a fight on literally the opposite side of the map are pretty low.
Well, we are going to see what they opted to go for, but Pataria for now is going to be farming up top. He is a little bit ahead of Max in terms of experience. Now that changes hands because of minion wave. But objectives, though, are going to be in the cards for both of these teams.
Good win comes from Mixer J. He's playing defense in mid, trying to keep Horus safe. Shaka's being very rude, though, 2 games in a row.
There's the merge coming through, and the snipe as well. It's not going to connect that to anybody just yet.
So keep an eye on Shaka, because game number 1, he was devastating on the Annette. Game number 2, he's got the potential, I think, to do much, much more.
Yeah, in game 2, Shaka's going to be on that Sephira, so it's going to be a kind of a crucial point for the side of Nova if they want to rely on that. Spadari is going to get dove upon on the top lane. Mercy comes in as well. There's the Tides of Life coming through, and Bracelets of Submission. The liftoff for good measure. Make that triple ultimates being used here, but it's for a good cause because they get the kill and the tower.
The reason for that liftoff ult is just to make sure there's nobody else, because it gives you global mission. It makes sure that there's nobody else pushing through to save the top lane.
Oh, Mixer J's in a little bit of a pickle there. Sir Muster is going to be fighting up against Murad there. Echo is going to have to run away from this one as SA is going to channel the Reiki shot, and it's going to follow Echo. Should that catch up, deals a lot of damage. Oh, the immunity coming through from Echo. The snipe's going to be off target, but Echo is a little bit too brave considering it's a Liliana.
If he was like a millisecond slower, that Reiki shot. Oh, Mercy, what on earth?
There's a jump in coming through.
Why did that work?
Well, what works out. He somehow hits those lassos and gets those initiations on.
I legitimately don't understand how that worked. He's just full committed, well past the back lines. And he's responsible for so much of the team's damage this game. No Mercy's been absolutely stellar this series. Oh,
the flicker out of ult to try to get Elsu down. Echo does come in with the temporal turbulence, but does not get anything else besides a little bit of damage coming through. Max once again is going to be split pushing throughout this game because of Max's ultimate liftoff being that global presence that they are going to be looking for.
A whole bunch of the pressure coming through from Nova Esports right now is coming from Shaka, and that's going to be a little bit troubled as the poke starts to come online for INTZ. This was what I was talking about with the snipe, with the temporal turbulence. You could see the first demonstration of that there as Shaka had to spend the Tides of Life, the invulnerability, just to stay alive through the snipe. That's maybe a way back into the game, but INTZ, make no mistake, are badly behind right now. Not just in gold, but in terms of the map control. They're having to group just to play defense in their own jungle.
Yeah, that's a position you don't want to be in, is if you have to take your team and go through your own jungle just to be safe.
Not only, full engage from No Mercy again.
Well, there's going to be Shaka on the forefront of the fight. Once again, their snipe going to connect onto him, and the Hurricane Wall has been popped as well. Nova, no, they're going to be on the retreat path here as they're going to be running back.
Mercy!
Oh, that's a good jump in coming through, and an even better counter engage coming through from INTZ. Nova, they somehow turn it around. 2 kills to 1.
I'll label exactly what the somehow was. It was Mixer J's Hurricane Wall, splitting up the attack, giving a path to escape for the INTZ members who can run through the Hurricane Wall.
Oh, Podari's going to be in so much trouble there. The minion to finish things off. Man of Steel is going to be beaten by a Siege minion.
Brutal. That was uncomfortable for him. There was no way he could survive. He was... I think he might have been better served just committing and trying to do as much damage by running it at Sir Muster, but he was probably dead either way.
And as he goes down, Nova Esports, they once again get a little bit of control over the map. They are rotating, they're taking the jungle and these objectives.
No Mercy will be able to pick up all the jungle that he likes, and because he's building into a Soul Reaver, you may have been noticing he's been doing more damage than your average jungle Wonder Woman. Typically, you see that Leviathan build for a little bit of AoE burn and a lot of HP. No Mercy, though. He's looking for full damage.
That's an incredibly squishy build for a Wonder Woman.
Yup. Full damage.
The thing about this is, though, if this game goes into late game, it could backfire because Wonder Woman's not going to be the frontline presence. Harris gets the stun off, and there it is. No Mercy is going to be able to take the kill onto the Mixer. Jay is going to have to run away. There's the Hurricane Wall coming through as liftoff goes down onto the Fusion, onto the bottom side of the map. This is what I was saying pre-game as well. Max is such a good counter to Elsu, and there's no escaping him right now. 0-8 did get the kill, and that's 2 towers going down. Make that 3 as Nova rotate to the bottom side, but they are not actually going to focus on the tower just yet.
No, they elect just to back off, but Wonder Woman, full aggro build, it works again. The Soul Reaver pays off. No Mercy's able to dive into the middle of a team and just get these big kills from his AoE damage. And you're right, should this game go hyper late, there's the possibility that it runs them into trouble. But thanks to the changes they made to the jungle items, you can actually trade the stacks over. So you can just sell Soul Reaver and buy Leviathan, and you're instantly the tankiest thing on the map, because the 30 jungle kills that you put into Soul Reaver to get it for full damage transition over.
Well, the Wonder Woman does change up the build a little bit, taking Mantle of Ra now for the defensive posture there. So Wonder Woman's not going to be full squishy anymore. But crucially enough, we do see, I want to highlight the fact that Liliana is 0-0-3. Zephyra, 5-1-3, is more farmed than their middle lane player. That's how impactful Shaka is in this game.
Yeah, he's been having a great time, and he's gotten a decent amount of farm because of some of the gold he's been taking away from SA overall. but I think with the Sephra, you don't really mind that as much.
Well, if there's a way for INTZ to shut down Nova Esports, it is going to be shutting down Sephra, and once again, the dive's going to be there. Fusion, once more on the sidelines, is going to be benched for now in the upcoming 27 seconds, as the Drake has been summoned down to the bottom side of the map by INTZ. He's looking to defend the bottom side. Harrison Badaria is sticking around. Badaria jumps in, but that's a mistake. He instantly gets taken out, and that's Nova. One tower less to go to the victory as Echo jumps in, but he gets taken back. That push away to stop the bracelets from landing beautifully, but it still connects, and that is gonna be the game more than likely here for Nova, as they're looking for a couple of more auto attacks. The core is gonna fall in a spectacle. Nova have taken this 2-0.